Hey, what's going on, people? It's J.Good of Str8OutDaDen.com. That's STR, the number 8, OUTDADEN.com. I'm on the line right now with S.O.N, better known as Shining Over Negativity, man. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate this opportunity.
Man, no problem at all, man. I appreciate artists like you, listening to the music and just giving everybody an honest approach to what you're doing and your movement and everything that you're about. I was doing some research on you, and I noticed that you're from Baltimore, and
Yes,
I read a little bit on your story, about how you went to the military, and you kind of had to put music on the back burner a little bit. Share with us a little bit more about that experience, trying to have a career with music, but at the same time having real life get in the way.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, I'm definitely from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised, man. I graduated high school when I was 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? And growing up in Baltimore, just like any other inner city hood situation, you already know the problems that you face and everything. At that point in time, even to this day, I'm proud to say, I never smoked, I never drank, I never been arrested, that type of thing. So when I got out of school, it was really nothing to do. So I joined the Air Force at 17, and that was one of the best moves that I ever made in my life, because it allowed me, the opportunity to travel overseas and experience, different cultures, different people. And because up until that point, all I thought about life was everything that I saw in Baltimore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize. Of course, I knew life existed outside of Baltimore, but it wasn't important to me. So traveling overseas and everything, I actually was still able, with my job and everything, to do music a little here and there, but not at the full scale that I wanted to do it. I work 14, 15 hours a day, so that little bit of time, you got to try to do your music, so got to have a social life. And at that point, I was a lot younger, so music wasn't really, that important to me, But I got out of the military in 2002.
Okay.
And I moved to Japan with my wife, man, and met some dudes over there that was doing real hip-hop. And, that's, right then, in 2004, that's when I say, I really emerged as an MC. Before that, prior to that, I was just rapping, man, like everybody else.
Gotcha.
But in 2004, that's when I say S.O.N was born.
Definitely, man. And you said Japan, and it's one thing that I appreciate and love so much about hip-hop and the hip-hop culture is that it's long and gone from the days of where it was you only heard about hip hop in New York, let alone the States. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, for you to find hip hop again in Japan, how was that scene over there for hip hop?
It was crazy. My first experience with hip hop was in '98 when I moved to London.
Mm-hmm.
And that was crazy because up until that point, this was right before Eminem came out. There were no white rappers, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was when I got over to Europe, it was crazy because up until that point, I thought anybody, as shallow as it was, anybody that was white and was rapping was a wannabe. You know what I mean? I got over to the UK, man. They had DJs, breakdancers, graffiti artists, skateboarders, MCs, producers. All of them was just white, man. It was just the illest people. And they weren't perpetrating nothing. It was just the life that they lived.
They really loved the culture. I mean? Yeah.
It opened my eyes so much. Even to this day, over the international hip hop scene is like you mentioned. It's like the New York scene back in the '90s. The scene that I become, that I grew up accustomed to. So it was just so much love over there. People, even if they can't understand what you're saying, they feel the vibe. Just like me hearing different artists from different countries, I might not understand the word that they're saying, but I can feel the beat and I can feel how they delivering it, and if it seems like they saying something, then, music is universal. That's what I tell everybody.
That's so true, man. I wanted to ask you about your first project, but, we're talking about a lot of the overseas stuff, and, I know the last project that you did was the Be More to France.
Yes, sir.
So, how did that, and maybe I'm just guessing here, but giving it that title, did it have anything to do with like that international presence that you've had, you know, being in the military and just seeing so much outside of the States? Did it have anything to do with it?
It had pretty much everything to do with it. I have to salute out a fellow Baltimore MC by the name of Don Street, who actually hooked me up with Kino Beats. Like, I deal with a lot of producers from overseas. Mm-hmm. You know, I have some in Russia, Japan, England, Sweden, Denmark, a few other places, you know, and he actually was a friend of Kino Beats. So I did a couple of joints with Kino from Orleans, France. Got to shout Kino out. That's the man right there. And they was like, man, let's do a project. So by Don Street being from Baltimore, I was from Baltimore, and we had another MC by the name of Lord Baltimore DDS, was from Baltimore, who also had some tracks from Kino. We just did a project, and we call it Be More to France because the MCs are from Baltimore and the producers from France.
That's such a dope concept, man. And you know,
appreciate that.
No problem, man. I went through a couple of the tracks earlier today, and the one that really stuck out to me was the Really track.
Okay.
I love that record, man. Just the stuff that you guys were talking about. And I know I'm going to misquote you, but you had a line on there similar, just really talking about how, like, change and man, I know I was going to mess up the quote. I should have wrote it down, but it was just, it was a part where you were talking about, like, how some MCs emulate certain things, but where you're at now and just trying to get a better perspective on life just in general. I gotta find the line, man. But I mean, you wrote it, so you know what I'm talking about. But you know, I really appreciated that record. That one jumped out at me the most on the project. Just, you know, kind of skimming through, listening to a few tracks here and there.
Appreciate that, sir.
No problem at all, man. Now I want to talk about the record that I heard that really introduced me to you. And by the way, this is J.Good of Str8OutDaDen.com. I'm on the line again with Sun, Shining Over Negativity. And we were talking about the track that really introduced me to you. It's the one that was produced by Kino. And it was originally on the, which project was that track on?
It was actually on the His Story, the audio biography of Baltimore Sun project.
Yeah. Tell me, like, first off, how did that record come about?
Well, that joint was like the lead single on my project. I got back. I left Japan in 2006. Mm-hmm. Got back. My wife is in the Air Force, and we ended up getting stationed in South Dakota, of all places.
Oh, wow.
My pops got real sick. So we ended up being able to come back to Maryland. He passed away in 2007. And up until that point, like, I had just didn't do music at all. I kind of like took a hiatus. Not that, you know, his passing had anything to do with it. It was just that, you know, it was the skinny jean music and the swag, and I was just sick of it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but then, like, actually in the end of 2010, like around Christmas time, I decided, like, if I want to hear a change, then I need to be that change that I want to hear. So I said, let me go ahead and do a project. And I kind of wanted to tell people my history of where I've been, because for me back home in Baltimore at that time, I was new to people, even though I've been rhyming for years. You know, I was a veteran in my own right, but I'm still new to the scene.
Gotcha.
So I titled the album His Story. Soulful Street was the first first record that I recorded, you know, on that project. And bloggers picked it up, and, you know, Blog Talk radios and different internet radios, and people was just loving it, man. And we just rolled with that. And everybody, you know, so it was like, yo, Baltimore Sun. At that time, it was Baltimore Sun. You're like, yeah, he's here, you know. So that's how we came about that. And then Kino, you know, was listening to it, and he was like, man, let me remix this for you. I was like, man, you the man, so go ahead and do your thing, you know. So that's how we came about with the Soulful Street Kino remix.
Gotcha. You know, something that I saw that was very interesting about you was that you were branching out doing a clothing line. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I've always been in the fashion, you know, and I always like to be different. You know, mm-hmm. if I see people, you know, doing one thing, I'll purposely not do that. Or I'll, you know, when the Jordans come out, I'll buy a pair and I won't wear them until a year after everybody stopped wearing them. You know, just like being an individual. So with clothing, you know, I came out with the line, and it's called Sun Clothing. You know, it's pretty much shining over negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be about, everybody wears quotes on their shirts and everything like that, uplifting statements and all and things of that nature. But it's also going to be a full clothing line to incorporate the women's line of that, which is Sexy on Notice.
Okay.
So keeping in line with the S.O.N, the S.O.N. Then we're going to, right now, we just launched it
so it's like
2
in March
months ago.
Right? Yeah,
so it's still in the infant stages right now. And we're just looking to develop it, build and add on and bring a full clothing line, not just T-shirts, denim, the whole 9 accessories and everything, man. Trying to be, successfully self-employed.
Yeah, definitely, man. I feel you on that. Like, how can people pick up the shirts if they wanted them?
It's crazy, man, because like right now I own the domain, but I haven't put up my website yet because I'm all about appearance. And I'm going to have that separate from my music website.
Gotcha.
Some people might not like hip-hop. I don't want to send them to a hip-hop site to look for clothes and they be turned off, So I actually have a few model friends that live down in Florida, they're doing some professional photo shoots for me. So as soon as I get the photos back from that and everything, we're going to go ahead and develop the website. But right now, to be honest, I've been doing everything off of Facebook and PayPal, and it's crazy, like the amount of love and support that people are showing me. I post the pictures, they tell me what they want, what size they need, and we send it over PayPal, and I mail it out, man. It's all about just getting it out there and letting people see it,
Yeah, definitely, man. That's a dope idea, dope concept. I'm actually on your site now looking at some of the designs, even the ones for the females. I think it's great that you're doing something, for both sides. You know what I mean? Like, just not limiting yourself.
You know what I learned a long time ago?
Yeah.
That especially as it relates to music, females set the trends.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, like, back when I was in high school, Diggable Planets came out, and I couldn't stand Rebirth for Slick. I said, man, this is the dumbest song I ever heard. But the girl that I was dealing with at the time, it was her favorite song. So every time I saw her, she was listening to it. I was like, man, let me hold that. Let me hold it. It was the tape back at the time. I said, let me hold it, pop the tape and listen to the whole thing. And to this day, man, that's my favorite CD of all time.
That's crazy, man. It happens like that because they do have a great impact on culture, just in general. You know what I mean? And it's important that they realize that because a lot of things can change and shift if a lot of women realize that, the power that they do have. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
I know we only have you for a short time, and I do appreciate you calling in. Before we get you out of here, though, I know you were telling me earlier that you had an upcoming project that you were working on.
Yes, sir.
Kind of go into that before we wrap everything up.
Okay. I actually started a group called Unified Nations of Hip Hop. We started this about 2 years ago with my man Kelson. He's a producer from Germany. And it was basically just blending, the hip hop scene from around the world coming together to do a project. Everybody had so much stuff going on that the project kind of fell by the wayside. We recorded a few songs and then people start doing their own thing and disappearing. So like now we're just restarting it. I'm headed in a different direction, man. I got a handful of MCs that I respect that have their own grind going on and producers as well. And we just going to come together and put out this international. It's going to be an international compilation project.
Okay.
I have a media company that I just started called S.O.N Media. Of course, shining over negativity. So I'm going to be looking to make this a series, man. Just selling MCs, producers, and vocalists from all over the world and putting them on the same tracks, man. And to me, that'd be good for everybody's promotion. You might have fans that I don't have that'll get to hear me, and vice versa. So I just think it's, for the sake of the culture, that's what we're doing it for. Unified Nations of Hip Hop.
That's dope, man. Hey, kudos to you for taking a craft and a passion and really making it into something. You know what I mean? Like it takes a real person to stand up for what they believe in, number one, and have a passion for what they're doing and actually make it into something tangible. So I really appreciate that, man.
I appreciate that too. Thank you, sir.
No problem, man. Once again, it's J.Good at Str8OutDaDen.com. I'm on the line with S.O.N, shining over negativity, man. And one thing that we do on all of our phone interviews, man, before we get out of here, we like to ask the artists if they could leave us with a couple of bars Like, it's totally up to you. No pressure. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. It can be written or it can be freestyle. But we just asked if you could, give us something before we go.
Oh yeah, that's never a problem. That's never a problem at all. Just go if you want me drop like a 16 or something.
Yeah, go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat, old school style, Don't ever say the sun don't represent the Baltimore scene. 'Cause of me, Baltimore scene in places you never dream. And that ain't being cocky, I'm just being honest. Been paying my dues for years, dude, so pay homage. The hottest in the city, I might be. I promise I ain't saying swag is whack, I'm just saying swag is garbage. If that's what you do, then get your swag on. I represent bars in my damn songs. I don't get my dance on. It comes to my city, I play pastor. I'm hands-on. The son of massacre, every stage I stand on. I'm known to beat up any track I get my hands on. The microphone fiend, I'ma be until my gland's gone. And since my dad's gone, I gotta make him proud. I hear Big L Pac and Big saying it loud. If I was with them on the day of their last breath, they say, "Tay, the torch is yours, rep to your damn death." I will, for real, I will rep for my city. Only question that's left is the rest coming with me. If I gotta stroll dolo or roll with a committee, I'm still gonna rep for my city. That's what love is. Sometimes I feel I don't get my respect 'cause they ain't seen me on the scene. They forget I'm a vet, been around the world building. I don't live with regrets, man. I'm still gonna rep for my city. That's what love is.
Dope, man. Dope. Hey, once again, it's J.Good at Str8OutDaDen.com, man. We had S.O.N on the line, shining over negativity, and he just gave us some beautiful bars, is what I like to call them, bro. Hey, I do appreciate your time, man. Before you leave, man, how can everybody get in contact with you?
Yes, sir. Hey, I definitely appreciate you, man, on this lookout, this love and support. It's definitely
no problem, man.
Felt,
no problem.
You know what I mean? I make it real easy for people. They can check me out on my website, thesonzone.com. Sun is S-O-N. On there, there's a link to my Twitter, my YouTube, and Facebook. I like to just make it simple so everybody is not trying to remember all of these links and everything. Thesonzone.com. You have music, my bio, some videos on there, just anything you need to know about me.
Dope,
Email
man.
is on there and everything, man.
Dope. Hey, once again, man, I appreciate your time, bro.
My pleasure. Definitely my pleasure.
All right, we out.
Peace, brother.